What is a record, sports or otherwise, that will likely never be broken? The Lion King has the highest VHS sales of all time. Hans hires DNU, DNF and DSQ in one female one race. Did not qualify, did not finish and disqualified. He did not qualify because he was too slow, started anyway by sneaking his car in. Only when his gearbox failed after 10 laps was it realized that Hire should not have been competing, whereupon he was disqualified. Wade Boggs drank 64 beers on a domestic flight. R.I.P. Wade Boggs. Cy Young baseball pitcher, pitched 749 complete games in his career. The current active pitcher with the most complete games in his career is Adam Wainwright, who has pitched for 17 years and has 27 complete games total. Pitchers just don't pitch the whole game anymore, and Young's record will never come close to being touched. Alexander Karelin, Greco-Roman wrestler. 887 wins to 2 losses. Entered 9 world championships and never lost a bout in them. Glenn Hall played 502 consecutive games as an NHL goalie. Zero chance that will ever be broken. Goalies these days rarely play more than 3/4 of an 82-game season, let alone numerous seasons without a night off. The longest professional tennis match of all time, John Isner vs. Nicholas Mahut at Wimbledon 2010. It lasted 11 hours 5 minutes, spanning 3 days of play, with a final score of 6-4, 3-6, 6-7, 7-6, 70-68. It was already nearly twice as long as the previous record holder. The reason it will likely never be broken is that every professional tournament except for one, Roland Garros, now has tiebreaker rules that limit the number of games that can be played in final sets. Although it's hypothetically possible at RG, clay court tennis is not at all conducive to the serve and volley style of play that led to the insanely long 5th set of Isner Mahut. The current record for the Cannonball Run, a drive from New York to LA, is about 25.5 hours. It was set in May of 2020, and the drivers were able to make use of the lack of traffic due to the pandemic to break the record. Barring another similar world-changing event, traffic conditions will probably never be what they were when that record was set. Average speed, 110 miles per hour. Average. The Voyager golden record is now in deep space and is extremely unlikely to ever come across anything which could break it before the end of humanity. Voyager, in case it's ever encountered by extraterrestrials, is carrying photos of life on Earth, greetings in 55 languages and a collection of music from Gregorian chants to Chuck Berry, including "Dark Was the Night, Cold Was the Ground" by 20s bluesman Blind Willie Johnson, whose stepmother blinded him when he was 7 by throwing lye in his eyes after his father had beat her for being with another man. He died, penniless, of pneumonia after sleeping bundled in wet newspapers in the ruins of his house that burned down. But his music just left the solar system. Josh Lyman. Oh, I know this one. When I was a kid, we had a Guinness Book of Records lying around that we liked to browse in while bored. There was this one guy in it who held a record for most bikes eaten. No, you did read that right. He ground up a bike and slowly consumed it over I don't know how long a time. The record was accompanied by a note that no further records of bike eating would be accepted, as it was deemed too dangerous. The Guinness Book of World Records stopped allowing most types of records, if I recall. Basically anything that wasn't a particular feat or skill, and that was just a stupid number of repetitions for a specific useless thing. X. Most amount of hot dogs balanced on the nose in 1 minute. Also anything overly dangerous that isn't dangerous because of the athleticism. Longest motorcycle jump is okay, but number of live fireworks I can fit in my mouth isn't. When you pick up in 2000's Guinness Book of World Records, you realize it really was their bread and butter. The amount of utterly useless and easily beatable records that existed just because someone went, "I will try to balance 5 hot dogs on my nose in under a minute. Who fucking cares?" Surprised no one mentioned the unlimited water speed record. The current unlimited record is 511.11 km per hour, achieved by Australian Ken Warby in the Spirit of Australia in 1978. It hasn't been broken to this day due to how dangerous it is to go at those sort of speeds on the surface, and plenty of people have passed away trying. Max Verstappen being the youngest female one driver to hit the grid, at age 17. He is the reason why there's now a minimum age requirement for female one, and their license. He's on his 7th season already and is one of the more experienced female one drivers, so I always think that he's around 30 years old. But he's just 24. For comparison, Lewis Hamilton was 22 when he started in female one. Wilt Chamberlain's minutes per game record in basketball, 48.5 minutes per game, while playing every single game. Players in today's league don't even reach 40. Jacques Villeneuve, Michael Schumacher and Heinz-Harald Frentzen set the exact same time in qualifying in the 1997 European Grand Prix, to the 1,000th of a second. Cal Ripken's consecutive baseball games played 26:32. Queen Elizabeth II being the longest reigning UK monarch. With anti-aging research progressing like it is, who knows? Roger Federer reached the semi-finals of 23 consecutive Grand Slam tournaments. The man holds many records, but this one is probably the most significant, because it's the best indication of his regularity at the highest level. Reaching the quarterfinals of 58 Grand Slams is nothing to sneeze at either. Rogerio Cini's record as the football goalkeeper with the most goals scored 131 goals through his career, more than double of Chilavert's previous record. Secretariat's Belmont record. For those who've never seen it, one of the greatest moments in sports history. I always feel for Sham. If he'd been sired any other year, he would have been a superhorse in his own right. Upon their deaths, they discovered that both Secretariat and Sham had the famous X-Factor heart gene passed down through Eclipse's line. Sham's heart weighed 18 pounds, Secretariat's weighed 22. The average thoroughbred's heart weighs 8 pounds. Javelin throw of 104.8 meters set by Uwe Hone. Richard Petty's 200 Cup wins. No NASCAR driver will ever meet that. And if they do, they're gonna kill every fan base except their own, as no one else will want to watch it. Also, with standardized cars instead of home-built machines, it's harder to get an advantage. Luigi Fagioli won the 1951 French Grand Prix at the age of 53 years, 22 days, making him the oldest female one winner in history. Given that female one drivers rarely continue driving past 40 anymore, this record looks pretty safe. The Super Mario Bros. Speedrun record is currently below 4 minutes 55 seconds, and it is seen to possibly be the final second break in the game, I think. Michael Phelps' Olympic medals. I can't imagine another swimmer earning more medals. Katie Ledecky maybe. She already has 7 golds and 10 overall Olympic medals, and she's only 25. Messi 91 goals in a year. The man who survived over 400 days lost at sea. Fishermen in a small, uncovered boat blew out to sea in the Pacific when their motor died. 1. Survived on rainwater, urine, and the blood of sea turtles. Ate whatever they could catch with their hands, seagulls. 2. At one point, a large ship passed them by, the crew waving at them. 3. His friend went insane, stopped eating and died of starvation, but the family claims the survivor may have killed and eaten him. 4. He floated most of the way across the Pacific, eventually landing in the Marshall Islands, where he found a house and was rescued. If he'd missed this small island, he would likely have been adrift for hundreds of more days. Wayne Gretzky's hockey career and season point totals. No one will get close to either. He has more assists than the second-place player has in total points and a, roughly, 900-point lead on second place. The two active players who are closest to him are both close to the end of their careers, Alex Ovechkin and Sidney Crosby, and are 1,400 points away from tying him. Both are on 1,410 points. Single season, Gretzky had 4 seasons over 200 points. This season, one of the highest scoring since the 1990s, the point leader had 120 points. There is a reason that he's called the Great One. I remember once a soccer player got a red card in the 3rd second of a match. The youngest Everest climber was a 13-year-old boy. After the hike, they decided to prohibit children under 16 to climb the mountain. It is too dangerous. Now no one is likely to break that record. The record number of days without sleep. It is 11. It cannot be broken because the Guinness World Records no longer accepts such records. Number of dinosaurs killed by a single meteor. The record has stood for nearly 66 million years and is unlikely to ever be broken. Michael Schumacher's making it to the podium every race in a season. Alberto Ascari and Jim Clark scoring every point available in a season. A bit late to the party, but German U-boat Captain Arnaud de la Perrière sank 194 ships totaling 450,000 tons in World War I. That record will never be broken, as there will never again be a naval war which so heavily favors submarines as World War I. What is a record that will likely never be broken? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.